Today is Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. And on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, join me on my talk show, The Outlander, where I answer your emails, take your calls, and interview some extremely intriguing guests. Just go to irnchat.com to chat, interact, and listen live to The Outlander Show. Blasting off with some highly cool UFO reports. The first one is a UFO sighting in Michigan. This is a blast from the UFO past. This occurred July 14th, 1980. In brief, the witness states, we were driving on motorway when this thing came up alongside of us and buzzed us for at least 3 minutes. This was real. I always dig reading these totally unedited reports because their choice of words, or lack thereof of words, I just throw it in there. Okay. Okay, now they're saying it was in 1978. I was driving my lorry with my brother-in-law along the M6 motorway in the UK. Okay, this is like, something is like totally not put together properly here. But it's okay, I think. Something is goofy. Okay. It was approximately 7 p.m. in the summer, nice sunny evening. Our windows were down and traveling at 70 miles per hour. I caught something in the corner of my left eye. Something flickering through the trees approximately 10 feet off the ground. It then came right across the front of us. It was about 20 to 30 feet in the air. It was white and red in color. It took up the 3 lanes of the motorway. There were no windows, no doors, no wings, and no sound at all. Me and my brother-in-law were speechless. It stayed in front of us for approximately 45 seconds. It then went across the motorway and disappeared for about 20 seconds. It then raised up and came back again in front of us, same height. It stayed in front of us for about 30 seconds, then took off at such a speed, heading north at 95 degrees. It was out of sight in just under 3 seconds. All this time we were driving at 70 miles per hour, and not once did we cross a road marking or lose speed. I hope someone takes me seriously because I've never spoke to anyone except my family and friends. I take you serious. That's pretty fascinating. The next UFO sighting, this happened in Derby, England. This is another UFO blast from the past. This occurred May 31st, 1985. In brief, the witness states a cigar-shaped craft hovering for 10 minutes, then vanishing into the clouds. I was 15 years old, walking home, when I heard a slight hum. As I looked up, I saw a cigar-shaped object in the sky. I couldn't say exactly how long it was or how far away, but it was hovering for about 10 minutes. Then suddenly vanished up into the clouds very fast. I told a few friends about it, but after some years, I began to think I imagined it until I saw your TV show, and feel now it is time to report it. There's a TV show? I don't know who. Okay, anyways. Ooh-wee. Oh, we've got some more UFO blasts from the past. I like those. Those are always fascinating. They're always so deep. People have just simmered on it for years and I just love it. Okay. This occurred in Monterey County, California, April 15th, 1966. In brief, the witness states, Army platoon saw unidentified aircraft take off from hillside across canyon from Army base. Craft went off over Pacific Ocean, changed direction several times, and disappeared over water. See? I told you they're always really cool. That was just the brief description. In more detail, I was a member of an infantry training platoon at Fort Ord, California in April 1966. We were on a night land navigation exercise on a hillside on Fort Ord federal lands. And to the south below us was the road going east over to Salinas, and across the canyon was an adjacent mountainside that was at that time, I think, civilian public lands. It was between 7 or 8 p.m. when, without warning, a huge, brightly lit aerial craft took off from the adjacent deserted mountainside and startled everyone in my platoon who were witnessing this event. The distance across the canyon to the craft taken off was at least 1 mile. But whatever was taking place was clear and obvious and visible to everyone who was looking over in that direction. Everyone seeing this event commented at the time that whatever this event was, it was extraordinary and unexplainable. At the time, the adjacent mountainside had been dark, but when the aircraft took off, it was accompanied with a great deal of light, and there was some kind of loud roaring noise. The aircraft, which was brightly lit and had no identifiable shape, headed out in a straight path over the Monterey Peninsula. It went out over Monterey Bay and then the distant ocean. It seemed to change direction a couple of times as if it were piloted, and it eventually disappeared out over the water some distance from the land. But it took a long time, and there were some other aircraft lights on at the time in proximity to the craft we were watching. Everyone in the platoon stood for at least 10 to 15 minutes watching this event, and we all agreed we had all witnessed, as stated before, something unexplainable. I can say with some certainty that this aircraft seemed to be piloted as opposed to being some kind of missile. And it took off from public lands and not the Army base, so it does not seem likely that this was any type of military aircraft. I'm reporting this now, some 50 years later, with the idea that this event might be archived with any other unexplained events in the Fort Ord and Monterey Bay area during that time. My Army training unit was 1st Platoon, HHC, 2nd BN, 2nd BDE, Advanced Infantry Training, Fort Ord, California, March to May, 1966. So, if anybody has experienced something that can relate to this person's report, I'd say, hey, you found a friend. Okay. Moving forward, the next UFO sighting, this occurred in Matawan, Michigan, January 19th, 2018. Witnessed a red tennis ball-sized object flashing, predominantly red with silver flashes, coming from the center, hovering at about 4 feet off the ground. Witnessed with my grandson of 9 a red and silver tennis ball-sized object hovering near our driveway marker around 8 p.m. We opened the front door and watched it for approximately 1 minute, when the object instantaneously moved across the driveway and appeared by our mailbox. I asked my grandson to watch while I put a coat and some boots on to go investigate closer. I wasn't gone 30 seconds, and my grandson indicated it disappeared, but he thought it may have gone west down the street. I exited the house and walked to the end of the driveway and could see the objects 2 houses down by the neighbor's mailbox. I approached, and when I got to our next door neighbor's driveway, I yelled, "What are you doing?" The object flashed rapidly and disappeared, only to see it close to a tree about 100 feet away at a driveway that leads into a wooded lot. Then it was gone. The object never got more than 3 to 4 feet off the ground. I retrieved a strong flashlight and tried to find evidence in the snow, but was unsuccessful. My regret is I wasn't able to get any video or pictures. How does this happen? How does this happen? People go to the toilet with their phone, but they just never seem to have it right when they have these up close and personal encounters. And maybe that's why they have these up close and personal encounters, because the thing knows you don't have your freaking phone on you. Huh? Yeah, how about that? I'm going in reverse. But how bold to get on out there and go to confront that. Kudos, kudos. All right, the next UFO sighting happened in Davie, West Virginia. Wow, we got some more UFO blasts from the past. This occurred September 1st, 1982. Bright light and time distortion. Multiple witnesses. In more detail, an event from my childhood has stayed with me my whole life. I have tried to understand what happened to me for many years. It happened approximately in September of 1982. It was after dark, approximately around 9 to 10 p.m. My mother, my aunt, 2 cousins, and myself were in the living room when a very bright light hovered outside the picture window. We all remember the light getting brighter and enveloping the entire room. I remember it as if time itself stopped, like time itself started slowing down during the encounter. We lived on top of a mountain in a rather secluded area. All of us remember this experience, but have no memory of what happened after. Abduction. Okay. All of us have no memory of what happened after just waking up the next morning. Gosh, that's an abduction. I have always remembered this and other experiences in my childhood. More abductions. I started having night terrors in my childhood that has followed me into my adult life. Uh-oh. Having difficulty sleeping for fear of something coming in my bedroom, taking me. I remember experiences where I would wake up screaming, seeing a 4-foot gray alien in my bedroom. Also of note, while my mother was pregnant with me, she and my father and grandmother remember being on a secluded road and seeing a UFO hover above the car with a bright light shining onto the car. This happened at night. They talked about this encounter for many years. I would love to get hypnotized when finances allow. I will update this report with the outcome of hypnotherapy whenever I am able to do so. Wow. That is, yeah. Sounds like you've got some things to uncover. The next UFO sighting. Black Triangle sighting in Port St. Lucie, Florida, January 19th, 2018. Red flashing lights, huge craft, no sound, over Port St. Lucie. In more detail, I went out to watch the rocket launch tonight, and about 4 minutes before the launch, I looked to the west-northwest, and there, in the sky, were 3 flashing red lights on this massive, silent wing-shaped craft. It flipped over like a pancake and kept moving slowly. Wow, oh, that's cool. I was with my folks, and we all saw it with our jaws on the floor. We all tried to get a picture, but none of them turned out. Come on now. Come on now. What? Just grainy black photos, which totally sucks. Yeah, these things know how to hit it, right? The red flashing lights definitely did not look like normal lights you would see on any aircraft. They had a strange hue to them. Very pinpoint accuracy. The stunner was watching it tilt on its side and then roll over to the other side while it was silently drifted to the southwest direction. Someone else had to have seen this thing. You can't miss it on a night like tonight when there are very few clouds and could clearly see the stars, as well as other planes. We all thought the lights were very, very strange. No sound, huge, and triangle wing-shaped. Not that high up in the sky, flew over the homes that back up to a golf course. It was on the golf course side of the homes. Time 7:43 p.m. Location Point St. Lucie. Okay. Hope someone else saw it too. They ended. Okay. All right. Moving on. Ooh. Okay. Here we go. Oh, this is a big one. Oh my. Okay. All right. We're gonna do this. Right? Okay. Maybe we'll do the smaller one. Okay. UFO sighting in San Francisco, California, December 28th, 2017. I stepped out with my SP camera, saw more crafts, took pictures. Every morning at daybreak, about 6:30ish, I leave my apartment. I looked up and saw a big, huge face staring at me. Well, it felt that way, but in all honesty, I think they were interested in City Hall government building. They hover over government buildings and make evil faces. What are we talking about here? They have destroyed government buildings in antiquity. There are religious pictures depicting this. They are not all disc-shaped. They come in a few different forms, boxy, multi-craft, hovering, blah, 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 blah. Strange way to explain this, but it is all true ever since I started writing about my home city. Okay. I think we're just going to skip that. That just sounded a little wacky. Yeah, I don't know. Just a feeling. Just a feeling. Okay, this next one. UFO sighting in Brownsville, California. This occurred January 1st, 2017. Rectangular, mirror-like dark blue, square panels underneath. The lights, ramp, entities, abduction, willing, telepathic communication, returned less than 1 hour. Okay, that was the brief description. We're getting a lot of abductions here lately tonight, huh? All right. In more detail, the witness states this event followed case number 89604. Exactly 12 hours later, on December 31st, 7 p.m., witness saw, side by side, square lights of indeterminate distance straight overhead. They flared twice, slowly, with a pure white brilliance that lit up the whole yard, then vanished with the object stationary and silent. At 7 a.m., January 1st, 2018, witness emerged from physical body, passed through wall, up bedroom, and went northwest about 200 feet, then turned and faced southeast. At that point, witness observed deep, solid blue craft of strongly rectangular shape, corners slightly rounded, descend from 45 degrees above mobile home. It descended smoothly and quietly to stop and hover quite motionless about 10 feet above ground directly behind witness's bedroom. An opening appeared in bottom of craft and a ramp was lowered to ground. Witness observed twin panels set into bottom of craft, which could be possible sources of the lights observed on December 31st. 3 men in uniforms descended the ramp and came to the ground. Each wore a different color uniform. There was a person whom I thought might be a mechanic because his white uniform was fitted with pockets and loops all over, which could be from numerous tools, apparatus, or unfamiliar design. Another man wore red, and the man that I thought might be the leader wore a uniform of the same blue as his craft. If there were emblems or insignia, I didn't notice them. For once I approached to within several feet of the men. My eyes were captured by those in the men in the blue, and I remained directly under his mental control for the remainder of the experience. All 3 men had golden hair, worn somewhat short but not severe. The leader's hair was very curly. His eyes were a sort of purple-violet, and the pupils were not really round, somewhere between round and diamond-shaped. They stood tall and muscular. Under the leader's control, I nonetheless went willing up into their craft. The inside was compact, but not cramped, filled with screens. Especially, I saw very little in the way of controls, but the screens responded to touch and also to direct mind control. Wow, okay. I was seated facing the leader, and he never broke eye contact. He was very kind and intuitive. I think that he knew me better than I know myself. His voice was strong and colorful, but I heard it only in my mind. I spoke back in the same manner. We rose up in the sky, but stayed within a few hundred feet of the ground. I could see the ground clearly below. Even the floor could be made transparent, or perhaps it doubled as another viewing screen. We traveled in a circle above 3 of the neighboring roads for perhaps a half hour. The entire time we spoke telepathically. I had endless questions. Well, I hope so. And the answers were often slow and careful. Much was told to me, but I can no longer remember anything except, "Does your craft utilize anti-gravity?" He replied, "That is what you call it. We have the ability to attract and repel numerous, all-pervasive forces." There was always a language barrier, because they were literally ages more advanced than anything I can imagine. All too soon I was returned, and they departed. I felt they would be back. The next day, my body suddenly began to reject a synthetic opioid prescription that I had taken for almost 9 years, following a head-on collision that put me in the hospital for a month. The withdrawal from this medicine is unbelievably horrible. I've never been so sick, but my mind is emerging from a drugged haze, and perhaps that is the point. Maybe those visitors knew what I didn't, or maybe just a coincidence. Perhaps, but it feels like they are here to help us out, if we are willing to be helped. Well, speak for yourself. Okay, anyways, I'm moving on. You know I love to give a nice paranormal story. Positive, negative, whatever comes my way. So here is a paranormal point of a story. And this one is entitled, "Don't Walk Late at Night in Mexico." Okay, anyways. This article reads, "I have been listening to your stories for a while now." They're talking to the person who owns this website. "Since then, I've been wanting to send you a story my dad told us about. I just couldn't find the courage to send it in, but I think now it's the right time. I'll tell you the story from my dad's point of view. Here it goes. I was about 19 or 20 years old when this happened. It happened one night in my village in Guanajuato, I don't know what that word is, Mexico." I'm so terrible. Okay, I was out drinking and playing cards with a couple of friends. After a few hours, I had gotten really late. I believe it was 12 or 1 a.m. in the morning. Anyways, I said my goodbyes and started to walk to your grandma's house. The night was eerily quiet and dark, but I was a bit drunk, so it didn't bother me too much. As I was walking up the path to get home, I felt as if something was looking at me. I thought it was just my tipsy state, but something told me to turn around. As soon as I did, I regretted that decision. This black dog appeared out of nowhere. I know it wasn't on the path or the neighboring houses. But it wasn't just that the dog appeared out of thin air. Its eyes were 2 round red lights. Ooh, sounds like a hellhound to me. It looked like two eyes on fire with no pupils, redder than firewood burning. It stood there frozen, trying to comprehend what I'm seeing. But as my eyes started to look down to its feet, my heart skipped a beat and my eyes almost bulged out of my head. The dog was floating in mid-air. Ugh. Where its legs were supposed to be, there was nothing. Kind of like an incomplete picture someone didn't finish. I was trying to figure out what the hell was in front of me. Just then, the dog started growling. Its red eyes locked on me. I panicked, and I started to run home. The path was on a steep, rocky hill. I don't know how, but I ran and didn't trip. Well, you're not like in the movies. Cool. I could hear his paws running on the path. Oh, heck no. But like I said, that dog was floating midair. How could I hear his steps? I could hear him growling and barking at me. I just kept running, hoping it wouldn't catch up to me. I reached the gate, swung open the door, closed it, and ran to my room. My heart was racing and I was tired from running. I sat there thinking, what the hell just chased me? It couldn't be a normal dog. Dogs don't have red circles for eyes with no pupils, much less float midair and have no feet. After some thinking, I decided to sleep and put it behind me. The next morning, I talked to your grandma about it. Hesitant, she told me most likely it was the devil in dog form. It tends to take different forms to roam the earth, looking for mischievous people roaming the nights. If he caught up to you, he would take you to hell for all of eternity. Ooh-wee. Needless to say, I reevaluated my life choices up to then. I decided then and there to change. I stopped gambling, drinking out late, and getting drunk. Not to mention, a few years later, I would marry your mom. My dad had always been a serious but loving dad, but when he told us the story, we 100% believed him. Why would he lie about something like this? I could see the fear in his eyes when he told us the story. He's a brave, strong man, so to see him act that way was surprising. To this day, he still finds it hard to believe what he saw that night. Was it really the devil in dog form? Was he just drunk? Did he imagine the whole incident? I'm telling you this story not to scare you, but to give you a warning. Remember that there are things that creep at night. It's not just bad people that will try to find a victim. The devil might be roaming the nights for its next victim. Be careful if you find yourself in Mexico at night. Taking a midnight stroll in the moonlight, there just might be a pair of red glowing eyes staring at you, staring you down. Woo! Wow, that was a little bit wicked. Wow. Well, I do know shadow people take on the form of demon dogs, the red glowing eyes and all. Some people call them hellhounds. So, anyways, I have to tell you guys, thank you for listening to UFO Headline News with me, Heidi Hollis, and be sure to check out UFOHeadlineNews.com every single day. And also tune in to the Outlander Fridays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and catch my paranormal comic strip, The Outlanders, at theoutlanderscomic.com. Direct links can be found everywhere on InceptionRadioNetwork.com and HeidiHollis.com. And remember, if you've experienced something out of the ordinary and want some level-headed advice, or if you've seen a UFO and want to share, visit my main website,